Welcome to Jazz Time. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so our customers can easily choose the best watch for themselves in the comfort of their own home. If you like this watch and would like to buy it, click on the link in the description below to buy it at JazzTime.com. Today, I'm going to be reviewing the Girard Perregaux Laureato skeleton in rose gold, reference 81015-52-002-52A. I'm going to talk to you about the bezel, the movement, the case, the bracelet, try it on, and give you my thoughts. So let's start. This watch is the Girard Perregaux, and it is part of the Laureato collection. Laureato collection is probably GP or Girard Perregaux's most famous and most desirable line. It's a sports line. They make many different kind of styles of watches, dress watches, sports watches, etc. This is their sports line and their most successful and their most desirable line of sports watches, and rightfully so. As you can see from this bezel that is octagonal kind of in shape, it reminds you somewhat of a Royal Oak or a Nautilus or an Overseas, but it's Girard Perregaux's version of that. It's not exactly like those others that I mentioned, but it is similar in that it is a sports watch with that type of bezel, but is their twist on it. And for those people who want to have a watch that is not exactly a watch that everybody else has seen on social media and is chasing after and is selling at double retail, and it's the hottest thing on the market, this one is a little offbeat. It's not a bad thing. It's just not exactly on the path that everybody else is on. Yet it still has all the same features, maybe even more than those other ones I mentioned. Okay, so yes, I know it does look very similar to those other models that I mentioned, but at a fraction of the cost and not a fraction of the quality, as we're going to talk about shortly. So let's see. The case itself, as you can see here, is made of rose gold. Now Girard GP only makes their skeleton watches for rose gold in this size, as you see here. It's a quite a nice size, 42 millimeter, and I wouldn't say it's too big, and I also wouldn't say it's too small. If you look at it from the 4 o'clock to the 2 o'clock position, or 8 o'clock to the 2 o'clock position, that's the longest distance across the bezel, or the case of the watch, not the bezels, the case, the entire distance is 42 millimeters. It's a good size, not a massive size, but a good size. Now, if you turn it on its side, you'll see that it has a 10 millimeter thickness, which again is a very good thickness. When you look at a Datejust, for example, 12 millimeters. When you look at, actually, between 8 is considered very thin. That's extra thin, too thin. 12 is average, 10 is thin. And 13, 14 millimeters is considered thick. So this one at 10 millimeters is very thin. Why would you want a thin watch? Well, it allows the watch to seamlessly fit under your cuff. It's much easier to wear, and it's less cumbersome. Okay, so that is the case. And as I said, it's made of pink gold. Now, they do make the Laureato collection in many different materials, which I think is very cool. They do it in a green ceramic, a black ceramic, stainless steel, and they do many variations of it. They do it on leather, they do it with different trim colors. But if you want the Big Daddy, which is what you're looking at right here, then this one's going to be in all rose gold. Everything is in rose gold. So they make very many different variations, but this is the rose gold version of it. Okay. Now, we've talked about the case. Now, look, I'll talk about the polishing, and I guess let's talk about the polishing now. So when you look at the top of it, you look at the bezel, it has this funky octagonal shape to it, which, as I said, is reminiscent of those other brands I said earlier, Audemars, Patek, and Vacheron, which also have very similar lines. The top of it is satin finish, but it's not. It's a satin finish in very well done way. It's done circularly. And behind it is high polish. So you get that play of light. You have a contrast. And then behind that, again, the case itself is brush polish. But then behind that again, on the beveled edge of that is a high polish. So then it alternates. And why does it alternate? Well, when you alternate a brushed and a high polish surface, it makes the watch glimmer in the light in a much more fantastic way. Okay. All right. So that is the case. Now let's go ahead and talk about the movement here. Now the movement is a GP 01800-0006 movement. Not sure that means anything to you, but what is it? It is a self-winding mechanical movement, which means it does not need any winding. Now that's not strange at all, because the Nautilus, the Royal Oak, and the Overseas are all automatic, so that's not really interesting. But what is interesting is what I noticed is when you see the rotor, like let's say if I shake it a little bit and I allow the rotor to spin in the back, you can actually see it from the front. Now, I've noticed on other skeletons, you can kind of see it from the front because it is a skeleton, but you don't see it as well as you do in the GP situation. And the rotor being what it is, sort of having this like sandblasted finish on it, it makes it kind of look like a ghost moving in the background, if I can describe that correctly. So it's done very nicely. Okay. And if you look at the movement itself, all these bridges and connecting plates, they're all sandblasted and done so nicely. Normally, the older traditional style of movement making, they make the movement with like a high polish edge, but in this situation, they blacken it out. And I think it's quite nice. And when they blacken it out, they satin finish the top of it, and then on the beveled edge they high polish it. That takes a lot of work, and that's actually a mark of a very good movement, or at least a very well finished movement. That is because it shows that high attention to detail, and that is not very easy. Okay, now what they say is GP says that they treat the movement, okay, with a galvanic process, anthracite gray ruthenium, so it works like a metal net, enabling the eye to follow the movement of the energy thanks to the rhodium plated gear train. So basically what gives it this dark color is that they plate it in rhodium. I think it's pretty cool. I don't think any other of the three are doing that. Patek is making skeleton watches, but it looks not nice. It doesn't look I think it looks really old school, and we don't really sell a lot of them. Rightfully so, because the skeleton watch does not look very good from them. AP makes an amazing skeleton watch. They're known for that. It's called the Open Work. We have it at jazztime.com. And that one looks, I would say that one sets the bar. I'm trying to think. Oh, yeah. Vacheron also does. But now GP does. Girard Perregaux does. And this is what you're looking at. And they have distinguished themselves by making their movement with this rhodium plating that gives it this gunmetal look. It makes it very sporty, and it makes it also very modern. I guess I have to also say Richard Mille also does it. Of course, all their watches are skeletonized, so they're also a huge player in this field. But their prices are like double, triple everybody else's. Okay, anyways. The watch, the movement has 173 parts, which is actually kind of low, to be honest. But since this is a time-only one, it makes sense to have under 200 parts. You don't need a massive number of parts if it's only just telling time. Okay. Okay, so that is the movement. Now let's take a look at this bracelet. Now the bracelet is, it kind of looks a little bit like a Nautilus bracelet in some ways. Of course, the entire watch kind of looks in that same style. Now, what I can point out to you is that the center links are high polished, which are beautifully done. They're thick, they're solid. And if you look at the edges, they have this high polished edge going down the side. And that's also just like the Nautilus. Nautilus also does a very similar thing. So does the Royal Oak, by the way. And actually, now I come to think of it, I think the Vacheron does the same thing. But at any rate, this is their version of it, GP's version of it, and it does look quite nice. And I like how these little links, they taper as you get toward the buckle, and the buckle also is a nice buckle. I like it that it's a butterfly buckle, and it opens this way as opposed to AP used to make this really terrible buckle. They've gotten rid of it, but GP has figured out that that's not the best way, so they've done it this way, and I think it looks quite nice. Okay, anyways, that's and by the way, what you'll notice about this bracelet is that it seamlessly attaches and seamlessly makes the watch look like it was all designed by one designer, probably because it was, and it makes it look just seamless as opposed to like you just putting on any random bracelet, which is kind of the case in Rolex, right? They use the same oyster bracelet on every single one of their watches. It doesn't look like they put that much thought into producing a bracelet for that particular watch, which I like that they've done that in this situation, because you want the watch to look like a cohesive unit, which it does. Okay, so all right, that is the strap, and of course it's made of pink gold or rose gold. Rose gold, by the way, it has a little bit of copper, which gives it this reddish hue. And by the way, if it were all yellow gold, it would be, in my opinion, a little bit too bright and a little bit too loud. So they mix it to dull down the gold appearance to look a little bit more subdued and not draw so much attention to the watch, because the watch is already drawing a lot of attention. Making it yellow would just make it even louder. So rose is a good medium for that. Okay. All right, good. Now it's time for me to try it on. I'm 200 pounds, 6 foot tall, and I'm going to give you my thoughts. So this watch is retailing on the GP website around $78,000 US as of 2023. You can buy it at jazztime.com for quite a bit less. I think we're selling it for like somewhere in the 60s. And although prices change at any time depending on market, but at least as of the moment, 23, we're selling it under retail. Now, if you compare this watch to any of the other big makers that I said earlier, Patek, AP, and Vacheron, it's the only one of those that are selling below retail, and it still looks fantastic. I think this is a very undervalued watch, actually. We obviously sold it here. There was a very smart customer who bought it. But of course, if you want one, we can get you another one. Just click on the link in the description below to buy it. But my thoughts are that, all those other watches that I mentioned earlier, they're all selling above retail. And this is an opportunity to get a watch with the same level of quality. If you look at the quality of it, it's not any worse than any of those other ones. I don't care what anyone says. Just look at it yourself. I've seen thousands of watches, and I'm looking at the quality, the build of the bracelet, the fluidity of it, the polishing, the finish on the movement, the overall symmetry and design, etc. of this watch. And to me, it looks fantastic. And so I have to say it's a very undervalued watch. And I think if I can make a prediction, I think this watch will probably gain some more it will become more famous and probably will start trading up above retail at some point. And interestingly, Girard Perregaux was bought by Kering, the second largest luxury company in the world behind LVMH, not long ago. And it has caused their watches to really go up in price. And I bet Kering is going to do quite a bit of advertising and stuff to make this watch and this brand really shoot up. And I think in the near future, GP is going to be a watch brand that you're going to have to look out for. And besides the watch just looking very good, I think it's going to be one of the next hot brands, and this will be their flagship of that brand. Okay, so anyways, if you want to buy it, click on the link in the description below to buy it at jazztime.com.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.